What's up, everybody, and welcome back. Today's October 24th, 2021, and before this week's slate of NFL games gets underway, I wanted to do a video on a very significant Freemasonic ritual that occurred last week on Sunday during the game between the Washington football team and the Kansas City Chiefs. During the game, Washington retired number 21, which belonged to former cornerback Sean Taylor, who was the victim of a home invasion back in November of 2007, which resulted in his murder. What we'll discuss in this video is how not only the number 21 is significant to this story, but a number of other numbers as well. And what this all points to is a major Freemasonic riddle in Washington, D.C., which happens to be the headquarters of the American branch of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Here we see the House of the Temple, which is situated about a mile from the White House in the city. Modern Freemasonry traces back to the premier Grand Lodge of England, founded in the year 1717. And we'll discuss how that's related. But why the number 21? First of all, in the language of Gematria, which is the practice of coding letters into words and phrases, coding numbers into words and phrases, jumping around a little bit here this morning. Using the standard 26-letter alphabetic order, the word sacrifice has a value of 73. This is the same as the phrase ritual sacrifice in the same method. 73 happens to be a prime number, only divisible by 1 and itself. And you'll see that 73 is the 21st prime number. Sean Taylor's death, which fell on November 27th, was 210 days before the anniversary of Freemasonry. And in numerology with the 0 ignored, this represents the number 21. And why would the death of Sean Taylor be aligned with Freemasonry? For this, again, we look at Gematria, where the name Sean Taylor has a Jewish value of 787. This Jewish or Latin cipher is what I consider to be the most significant cipher in the English language. Actually, the only one I teach that doesn't use the standard alphabetic order. Also notice the 59 in reverse reduction. These are the same two values that are found in Freemasonry, 787 and 59. So this game was played on October 17th of the year 21. And you have to think it's interesting that they would wait until the year 21 before paying honor and retiring the number 21. Well, look how old Sean Taylor would have been on the 21st of that same month. A span of exactly 2,012 weeks old. Here we have the digits 212. And in the English Kabbalah, the phrase ritual sacrifice sums to 212 in both primary methods. Furthermore, the game fell a span of 10 months and 21 days after the anniversary of number 21's death. And this 212 really stands out because the date of this alignment was October 21st, which sums to 212 in Jewish Gematria. Also, October 21st matching Washington Redskins, which was the name of the team when Taylor died. Using the standard alphabetic order, Sean Taylor has matching 130 Gematria with Washington. Both of these also sum to 140 in the reverse order. And check out Sean Taylor's birthday, the 1st of April, which is the date written 1/4 in most parts of the world. But the number 130 stands out For another reason, in Jewish ordinal, Freemasonry equals 130. And in English ordinal, human sacrifice sums to 130. Notice the 248 in reverse. Sean Taylor died 248 days before the next total solar eclipse. More on that in a little bit. But we can also look at his full name, Sean Michael Maurice Taylor, which sums to 251 and 107. These are the same values found in the phrase ritual sacrifice using the reverse alphabetic order, 251 and 107. Sean Taylor's birthday, for the record, had primary numerology of 107 to go along with his name. But where things really stand out is when you look at the two primary large number ciphers I teach, Jewish and Satanic, and notice how his full name has the same digits as both ritual human sacrifice, 911 in the Satanic method, ancient and accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry, sums to 1911 in the Jewish method, and his name has these same digits in both Satanic and Jewish Gematria. So it's clear to see why his death was connected ritualistically to the Freemasonry and the total solar eclipse code. In Greek isopsophy, total eclipse sums to 911. Think about the date of the 9/11 tax in 2001. There was a total eclipse on the summer solstice that year. Freemasonry's emblem has the famous compass and square, and you'll notice that the compass is set to 47 degrees. On the date that Sean Taylor died, it had a life lesson number of 47. 47, the gematria value of the circle and total eclipse. Also the word killing, with the K exception summing to 47, and 211 in prime numbers. This 211 is very significant as it's the ordinal value of ritual human sacrifice. And on the date of the tribute in Washington, Sean Taylor would have been 2,011 weeks old. If you measure from the founding of Freemasonry back in 1717 to the date of this tribute, you get a very odd 111,150 days. And this represents this 115 connection between Masonic and killing, 115. The tribute on October 17th was also 325 days after the anniversary of Sean Taylor's death. In ordinal, Scottish rite of Freemasonry sums to 325. Notice how in reduction, Scottish rite of Freemasonry sums to 127. Sean Taylor died a span of 127 days before his birthday. And notice the date he died, 11/27 in the year 2007. So the number 127 can be built twice from the date that he died. One of the most prevalent symbols of Freemasonry is the Masonic Arch, also known as the Royal Arch. And at the top of the arch, we have the number 69. This is also known as the astrological symbol for Cancer. Cancer ends on the date, well, let me try to explain this here. So the final day of Cancer is the 202nd day of the year. 202 is the value of total solar eclipse. And this date represents the end of Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, and the beginning of Leo, which is ruled by the sun. And the Masonic symbolism has the sun and the moon with the 69 between them. And the number 69 is the value of the word eclipse. Notice how the name Sean sums to 69 in the reverse alphabetic order. His death fell exactly 609 days after the last total solar eclipse. Now, an eclipse is the only time you can see the sun's corona with the naked eye. And notice how corona sums to 96, which is the reverse of 69. And on the date he was killed, Sean Taylor was exactly 9,006 days old. You could also argue that the name Taylor kind of represents the pillars with the 69 between it. I want to point out that just a few days after this riddle, we had Chris Taylor of the Dodgers hit 3 home runs in a game for the first time in 44 years. See my blog for a post on that. But to explain more about how this is connected to Freemasonry's eclipse code, you can check the description below, by the way, for a video I made several years ago explaining Freemasonry's obsession with solar eclipses. A little bit of an older video, but a goody one nonetheless. I mentioned earlier how Sean Taylor died 210 days before Freemasonry's anniversary, just like how he wore number 21. That would have been Freemasonry's 291st anniversary. And this is really interesting because when he was born, it was exactly 2,910 weeks after Freemasonry's 210th anniversary. So his birth and death connected to Freemasonry with the exact same numbers, 210, 291. The Gematria of eclipse, 120 and 192, both of these digits or numbers can be rearranged to find those same digits. And just think about adding 1 plus 2, you get 3. 1 plus 9 plus 2 is 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. So this all reduces to 33, connecting us to the eclipse code. And remember, not only does eclipse equal 33, but the word masonry equals 33. And we're told that the 33rd degree of masonry is the highest. If you split 33 in half, you get 16 and a half. The main branch of Freemasonry in the United States is the Scottish Rite. And check out how Scottish Rite sums to 165, right? Like 16 and a half. With capital letters, Freemasonry even sums to 165. And on the date that Sean Taylor was born, the 165th prime number could be found in the age of Freemasonry. And how funny is it that for many years, this blog post going all the way back to January of 2018 when I started this blog, I've been teaching how the ultimate eclipse number is 1331. And this all goes back to the 1331 eclipse, which sums to 1331 in Gematria. And it was on the date November 30th, which is the only date that sums to 1331. And what do you know? This game ended with a score of 13-31. The victory was credited to Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes even averaged 10.3 yards per rush for a total of 31 yards. Notice how Patrick Mahomes threw for 397 yards in this game. 397 yards, really? That is a tribute to Sean Michael Maurice Taylor, whose name sums to 397 in the reverse alphabetic order. Notice how in Sumerian Gematria his name sums to 1506. This is an extremely significant eclipse number. Every eclipse occurs 1, 5, or 6 lunar phases after the last one. And in the Hebrew language, the word for eclipse sums to 156. Of course, the 156th prime number is 911. And we talked about this earlier, how his name has these digits in Satanic and Jewish Gematria. And ancient and accepted Scottish Rite, if I can type this out right here, you get that 1911, ancient and accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. And just think about it, on the date 9/11, We had the destruction of the two towers, similar to the two pillars, which are shaped like an 11, first struck by Flight 11, American Airlines AA or 11. This makes me actually wonder how old Sean Taylor was on 9/11. Maybe run those numbers real quick here before I end this video. Nothing really sticking out here. We have 18 years, about a Metonic cycle almost. 163 days, that's the 38th prime. Of course, the word death equals 38. From 9/11 to his death, 6 years and 77 days. Let's see here. So it doesn't look like this was connected to 9/11, but the date of his death, the date of this ritual, certainly everything to do with Freemasonry. So there you have it, guys. Professional sports in America, just controlling the minds of the masses. You know, it's been entertaining watching all these leagues implement the vaccine mandates, and all the sports fans who go to work every day simply saying, oh, well, if the guy whose jersey I wear during the weekends is getting the vax, why not get it too? All right, guys, enough of my blabber. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of your weekend. Peace, love, God bless, and we'll talk to you next time. See ya.